Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Night Sports Guys 2019 NFL preview. We are pleased to be here tonight. Really excited about getting this show in on the cusp of the beginning of the 100th year of the National Football League. Along with me tonight, my two sidekicks, each and every time we do these kind of things, T Blades in Hammonds Plains, Nova Scotia, and T Mac in Port Colborne. Is that? Tell me I got that right, Mac.
Coburg.
Coburg. Okay, well I got part of the co right, so not bad, not bad. So, gentlemen, welcome to the show tonight. We will be getting into things here shortly, but before we do that, we just want to let everybody know that this show tonight, the Sunday Night Sports Guys NFL Preview, is brought to you by Legends VIP Network. Gentlemen, let me tell you something, ladies. You never have to miss your sports teams ever playing again. Legends has everything going that you need. Even if you're a movie buff, if you're into the news or into series, Legends has it all. We'll get a link in the comments a bit later, but just felt to share that with you as well. So, Duke's trying to learn a little bit of skill here, tech skill, so we're putting in a few of the graphics as we get going along here. As we said, this is the 100th year of the National Football League with the game tonight in Green Bay, or in Chicago, excuse me, at Soldier Field between the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears, the oldest rivalry in the National Football League. And gentlemen, before we get into the picks and predictions and all this kind of thing, one of the things I think is great, usually the Super Bowl champion kicks off the season on Thursday night. But obviously, with this being the 100th year, it's tradition to have two storied franchises. And the thing I like best about these two teams, even though I'm not fans of them particularly, is the fact that their stadiums, and I'm kind of an old school guy in ways, love the fact that they have maintained the name of their buildings over such a long period of time. Lambeau Field in Green Bay and Soldier Field in Chicago. So let's just talk a little bit about this game tonight. Are you all excited for it, gentlemen? T-Mac, start her off.
It's been a long time since that amazing Patriots victory in the Super Bowl, so having a chance to get the season started up again is great. It's a little different not having the Super Bowl winners in the first one. I'm kind of expected that, so I'm not as excited as I thought it would be, but itching to get football going. And as a hater of Aaron Rodgers, I'm hoping Khalil Mack and the Bears sack him about 10 times. So.
Well, I know that hatred runs right across the screen here to one Troy Blades. He's often likes to reference Rodgers when the national media in the United States tends to give him more props than they do our boy TB12 in New England. So, Blades, are you sharing that same sentiment as T-Mac tonight?
Well, yeah, it's one thing for us to hope Aaron Rodgers falls flat on his ass, which he's done time and time again over the last few years. He's always got somebody to blame. Well, he doesn't have Mike McCarthy to blame anymore. So let's see what he does. When he's calling the shots himself. But no, dude, like you said, usually the Super Bowl champion is playing tonight, and luckily for the NFL, this was the Patriots, and we're not whiners like some teams might have been if they got shut out of this. We've done it many times. It's kind of nice to be able to wait until Sunday night and watch the Patriots raise that banner in front of the Steelers once again. Give us something to look forward to for the weekend. But yeah, I think tonight, football is where it's at, dude. I hate to see fall and winter right around the corner and things like that. That's why baseball is the best as far as that goes, in the spring. But looking forward to football tonight. Personally, I'm the same as T-Mac. I'm not a fan of Aaron Rodgers. I think he gets way too much hype for what he has done. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the Packers are going to win this one tonight and upset the old Bears in Soldier Field and start their way. They are going to make the playoffs this year. We'll just give you a little preview. There you go.
Well, we'll probably get into a little bit of a disagreement on that one in a little bit, but nonetheless. It's funny when we're talking about putting a preview show together, and often we three of us do fantasy drafts together and stuff like that, and you get talking to each other and hearing the other guys talk, and everybody's saying about, I think so and so is going to win this division and all that. But on the screen right now, I want to bring this up here. And this here is something that Bladesy came up with here about a week or 10 days ago. It's called the NFL Schedule Grid 2019. And he sent me, messaged me his picks here. I didn't even know this thing existed. And so I got looking at it and I thought, man, that looks pretty interesting to do. And so I took the time yesterday morning. Took me about 2 hours to go through that sucker. And you know what? It changed who I thought I was going to pick to win the division, because I tried to be as honest with myself with the picks of each team and things like that. So we'll see what happens there. I don't think T-Mac did one of these, so his picks are going to be a little more. What's the word I'm looking for? How do they? It's not
off the cuff.
It's not his money ball. Off the cuff. It's not his money ball, is what me and Bladesy are doing here.
So his is going to be way better.
His probably will be a lot better. Yes.
I'm the crotchety old guy on the porch. I'm the crotchety old guy on the porch telling the kids to get off his lawn.
Yeah,
I think we all got some of that in us.
For sure. All right, gentlemen, we're going to kick her off with the National Football Conference Western Division. Rams, 49ers, Seahawks, and the Arizona Cardinals are who hold occupancy in that division. Bladesy, I'm going to let you start it off. Who are you picking for that division, and are there any contenders there whatsoever?
Well, anybody that watched last year, you'd be kind of crazy to pick anybody but the Rams. The Rams were the dominant team last year in the NFC. They ended up in the Super Bowl, obviously, and then ran up against, of course, the greatest of all time. But other than that, really the Rams, they're still a great team, still Goff with another year under his belt. The only real question mark, I would say, would be Gurley's health. Obviously, he got a little bit run down last year, and he's still not. Things are coming out of camp. I don't know. He's got arthritis. He's got this and that. I'm not exactly sure. But as we've known in the past, a running back is probably not the most important part of the team. They've got a great defense. They've got a better offense. Seattle's got a decent team. They got a good defense. Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson. The other two teams in that division really are not there yet. Seattle could, in probably if they played this season 20 times, Seattle will give them a run once or twice. But the Rams certainly are the runaway, I believe, in this division once again. I know it's not a very, interesting pick, but what are you going to do?
Well, that's what they're all there for, and obviously we're going to make a pick on each one. I think based on the picks you guys submitted to me earlier today, so that we could get things put together for the show tonight. There's a few odds ends there that'll make it a little more interesting. I think last year we went a little more crazier on some. You were actually very good, Bladesy, with your picks. Mine was Swamp Water by and large, but too bad Nate couldn't make it tonight to add his 2 cents in, because he's probably more in depth about names and all this kind of stuff. So, Mac, how are you seeing the NFC West? Can you justify any reason whatsoever why anybody's going to dethrone the Los Angeles Rams?
I don't think I can. I agree with a lot of what Bladesy said. I think the Rams running backs depth is probably going to mitigate whatever Gurley issues that may come up. I'm intrigued by San Francisco. If Jimmy G can be the guy that we were hoping he could maybe be as the next one after Brady, they've got a bunch of young receivers there. And on defense, when you add the younger Bosa, who could be better than the other Bosa in San Diego, and Dee Ford, I don't know, they intrigue me. That was I like to be a little crazy with these, and I don't know. There's a lot of ifs there. Too many ifs. San Francisco with Clowney, Seattle possibly. Arizona is going to be fun. I think the Kingsbury hasn't shown us a thing in the preseason, so I'm kind of if there's one team that I do want to watch, it's probably Arizona, to see what kind of crazy offensive things they do. But the Rams are just too deep. There's too much there, and I think if anything, McVay's out to prove to a whole lot of people that he isn't that much below Belichick. He's closer than what I think he wants to show people that he's a better coach than he did in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, he was clearly clearly outclassed last year, even though the score was close within the game. You could tell how much, for a team that was so high octane for an offense, and to be shut down to 3 points. I mean, holy cow, that's quite an accomplishment on Belichick and the coach's behalf in New England. But anyway, we'll try not to get too much into the New England factor here while we're in the NFC conference, because I know them New England Patriot haters.
Oh, it's coming.
Those haters out there, they'll turn us off before we even get going here. So,
like Dave Chappelle.
What's that?
Is Dave Chappelle said? Oh, yeah, that's it. As Dave Chappelle said on his Netflix special, "You're the one that clicked on my face. Do what you're gonna get."
For sure. Well, I'm going to make it the trifecta or the Troyfecta on this one here. I clearly don't see no reason to believe anything's going to happen to nix the Rams winning another division title. I don't even care what kind of injuries they get. Even if Aaron Donald went down in week 1, I don't think that's going to make a huge difference. I think the talent gap between the Rams and the other teams is significant enough that injuries, unless it goes crazy, is going to make a difference maker. I am interested to see what Garoppolo can do with a full season, assuming that he can stay healthy. That'll be interesting to see what happens. And I agree with you with Seattle. It's a bit of a dark horse question mark type team. The Cards are probably going to be entertaining with Kyler Murray. Everybody's going to want to see how he fares out. The two-sport, wonder kid who could have opted for baseball, but chose to take the NFL route. So plenty of things to watch for in the NFC West. So we're going to flip back over into the AFC and see who's rolling in that division. It seems like a slam dunk, but T-Mac always has a way of being able to surprise us with some very unique thinking and picks. So T-Mac, you're not sharing the whole Chiefs thunder this year, I see.
No, I believe the Chiefs are going to be really good. I think there'll be a little bit of a slip, and there's hopefully teams can see and learn a little bit about what the Patriots did. There's something about San Diego. There's something about Phillip Rivers that at times pisses me off, and he seems like he loses his cool. But there's something about he inspires me. If anybody can throw the ball sideways like that weird delivery and work, there's something. He's got like 14 kids, 10 kids, 8 kids. And he can still focus on football. I don't know. There's something about San Diego. I wish this Melvin Gordon thing wasn't hanging over them, because that unsettled isn't good going in. But they've got good receivers. The Derwin James being hurt is another one, but Adrian Phillips might be a guy. He was a big pick 3. I don't know. There's something about San Diego, and maybe just that I want Kansas City brought down a peg. Just like the Pats did. I'd like a full season of it. So my heart more than my head is picking San Diego to maybe even rise up in spite of the injuries, in spite of the Gordon stuff, and might be one of Phillip Rivers' last big cracks at it. So that's kind of my thinking with that one.
Right on. Well, Blazy, it'd be pretty impressive if San Diego is able to pull that out, seeing as they do not have a National Football League franchise. But nonetheless...
It's only been 2 years.
How many times did I say it? 6, 7, 8?
I wouldn't even brought it up. Duke, he's an asshole. What are you doing?
Well, we all agreed on the Rams pick. Come on, guys. We can't be agreeing on everything here. We won't have no audience, So, Blazy, you obviously feel differently than T-Mac does after hearing his debatable points. Does it cause you to change your opinion on your pick for the AFC West?
Yeah, no, I was actually, probably a month and a half ago, I would have probably said I was going to take the Chargers as well. Not saying anything bad about Kansas City. I would have thought they were both going to go 12-4 or 13-3, and it would have, came down to that last game in Kansas City probably for the division. And I think it still may. They're both going to make the playoffs, I believe. But, with the Chargers, Melvin Gordon, this thing hanging over their head, he's got to be worth a game or two. game and a half, maybe. They've got Eckler, which he's never been able to carry the load. There's a reason why he is who he is. They've got this Justin Jackson. I don't think they can come in and take the place of Melvin Gordon, probably a top 6 back in the league. Derwin James he was just such a beast last year. It was unbelievable. The loss of him is going to be really hard to replace. Philip Rivers' time is running out, and I believe that he's obviously hungry. Maybe hungry because he has 7 kids to feed. I don't know, but he obviously knows his time is running out. I mean, the Chargers have always been kind of they were kind of against the Patriots. They were always kind of a little bit assholes, and they had LT and things like that. But you got to give a guy like Philip Rivers credit. He's there year in, year out, doesn't miss a game. And I kind of root for him a little bit as long as he's not playing the Patriots. You kind of like to see him make a little charge, and I do believe I got Kansas City winning this division just because, and I think they're not going to be crazy. I mean, they don't have Kareem Hunt anymore. Who knows when Tyreek Hill's going to beat up his kid or his wife or whatever during the season, and things like that. But Pat Mahomes, he's got another year under his belt, but does he regress a little? He had 50 touchdowns. There's only been 2 other guys that threw for 50 touchdowns in the whole history of the NFL. Mm-hmm. So he's not going to do better than that. So I've got the Chiefs to win this division closely by a game over the Chargers. The Chargers definitely will make the wild card. If this Melvin Gordon thing figures itself out and Derwin James somehow, I don't think he's out for the year totally, or it's not, I think he has a chance he comes back. Who knows? They go to the playoffs. It could be a force. But right now, I got to go with the Chiefs. Another boring pick. But, Chargers to be the first wild card for sure. Both of them with 12 wins or 12 or 13 wins.
Right on.
And I just have to point something out here. Duke openly criticizes me for calling them San Diego. Bladesy, you just subtly do it by calling them the Chargers and then using cute words like they're going to make a charge and this, that. So you're rubbing it.
Really?
Not only do I know who they are, but I'm going to make puns using the name. So thank you to both of you for rubbing it in deep. This is going to be a fun night.
I'm glad that I did not do that on purpose because I would have made fun of myself too.
Yeah. Bladesy, I told you before the show, we have to be careful when we're dealing with T-Mac. Gee, he's smart, man. He's an educated man. You should know that. You're one of them.
Don't know my geography.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I as well am going to pick the Chiefs. I got them going 14-2, actually, with their 2 losses, ironically coming against the Chargers. Because other than the New England game, which I fully understand that can be a coin flip. They could really lose that. That is a definite possible loss in New England. I don't know. I just think that they're going to find a way to win that game. But 14-2, Mahomes, even if he drops off a quarter, he's still sitting at what? 40 touchdowns, 42, 38, in around that area. So, I mean, the kid's pretty good. He's a slinger, and he's got the legs. They still got pretty much the same crew. They brought in LaShawn McCoy at the 11th hour sort of thing. I don't know how much of a difference he does make. It may be a change of pace thing in their backfield. He's good at receiving out of the backfield. We'll see what that does. I don't know how much better they can get offensively. Frank Clark is in there, I think, for a full season now. Didn't they pick him up kind of throughout the season last year, Frank Clark?
Wait, time out. Is this Duke talking about Frank Clark? The Seattle Seahawks Frank Clark?
The Frank Clark, yes. Duke learned a lot about Frank Clark last year.
Okay.
Oh, man.
We got to go back in the archives for the uninitiated to know that Duke was not impressed that people were getting excited about this Frank Clark guy.
No.
So you made him do some homework on him, apparently.
Yes. Damn, I hate that. But anyway, Frank Clark full-time with the defense now. So, I don't know. I just kind of think Kansas City is going to go 14-2. And once again, the AFC Championship game, to kind of give you a bit of a prelude, is going to be back at Arrowhead again this year. How about
Duke? Before we go on, I just want to say I got them at 13-3, and I've got the Chiefs losing this week in Jacksonville. How's that?
Wow.
So once they lose in Jacksonville, don't yell at me. I still think they're going to be 13-3, win the division. They're just going to lose this week in Jacksonville.
Okay, you cashing that in on a ticket?
I'm going to.
You're going to?
Already, yeah.
Fair enough.
And this part of the show brought to you by Proline Long Shot.
Yeah, Proline Long Shots. Hey, they're a 3.5 point favorite in Jacksonville. That's I think that's that's all I got to say about that.
Right on. There is one other team in that division. Obviously Oakland, that is a total mess. I don't want to give a whole lot of time to this story that broke today, other than to say, and I covered this in the Dukes Daily this afternoon. The NFL is a very powerful entity, and if they don't want you around, they find ways to lose you. And if there's somebody they should consider trying to lose, is this character, Antonio Bryant. That guy there is a total pain in the ass. My regret is he didn't stay in Pittsburgh to continue to torture the Steeler organization, because I think him leaving there is going to be a definite plus for them. We'll get to them in a little bit. Oakland is going nowhere. You got the Chargers. You got the Kansas City Chiefs. The Denver Broncos, do they have enough to, with a break here and there, maybe grab one of those wild cards? What does either one of you think about that?
I've been intrigued by a podcast that I heard and a couple things that I read that people believe that Flacco can go in there and provide stability, which, as a Raven hater because of all the games but it's funny when you pull yourself back, if they get even average quarterbacking, which they haven't had since Manning, maybe the defense is good. I don't know. I wouldn't have thought it, but having heard it a couple times, I'm intrigued by it. They're not going to go past the Chargers or the Chiefs, but I think they could be a much better team than people think if good Flacco shows up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know we don't have Andrew Abernathy on here to be able to give his 2 cents. As you know, he was on our show a bit there last season, and he was a big Denver Bronco fan. Blaze, do you see anything at all to get excited about in Denver, or just false hope?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, like you said, their quarterbacking since Manning retired has been just atrocious. John Elway may have been a great quarterback in his day, but he has no idea how to draft them. That's self-evident. But Flacco still, he's a veteran. He's a Super Bowl champ. He'll certainly give them some stability. It's just a matter of, is he going to have someone to throw the ball to? Their defense is still pretty good, and I think they're okay. I mean, they'll be third in that division. I don't have them at 500 though. They got a pretty tough road too. They've got a pretty tough schedule themselves. So I think if they get to 500, I think that will be a great thing for Joe Flacco. I think that would be a notch in his belt, to be honest with you.
Right on.
Great.
I got him going at 10-6. So and missing.
Wow, 10-6.
10-6.
Jeez, I got 6-10. There you go.
Well, I have him surprising. Well, first, I won't go through all the games, but the wins I got him against is Oakland at home, Oakland on the road, Chicago at home. I think they're going to pull the upset. They're going to pull the upset on Jacksonville at home, Tennessee at home, Cleveland at home, Minnesota, Buffalo on the road, and who else? Chargers, Detroit, and Oakland. So some of those, I understand some of those games probably I could be persuaded to go otherwise.
You're not struck on Minnesota, apparently.
No, I'm not. And we're going to clash on that in a little bit here. Speaking of Minnesota, let's move along, gentlemen, to the NFC North. And last year, the Chicago Bears were the creme de la creme of that division. Made it back to the playoffs. Not a bad playoff game, but Nick Foles, as a Philadelphia Eagle, marches into Soldier Field, pulls off the upset, kind of substantiating that performance in the Super Bowl the year before. And new year for the Chicago Bears. Does that game, mature them enough to get another division title? Bladesy, I'll let you start with this one as to who you're picking to win the NFC North.
Well, I mean, like I said, they got three good teams in that division, right? I mean, as much as I hate to say it, the poor Detroit Lions are just kind of lost, and I think Matt Stafford is just kind of a wasted career for that poor old bugger. But other than that, I mean, the other three are good. I mean, I think if you put them, any of those teams win the division, I don't think anyone's going to be shocked. Chicago's 12-4 last year. Their defense was outstanding. In the NFL, year to year, it's hard to do that. It's hard to keep a defense, at the top of their game. I don't know why. You'd think a defense would be the thing that could be the most consistent. Yep. But I mean, if you look at Jacksonville 2 years ago, everybody thought they were the greatest defense ever. See them last year. I mean, that's just time and time again. Chicago had a plus 36 turnover ratio. Plus 36. That's two. More than see, you're distracting me now with that Habs hat there. But anyway, that's more than two a game that they get more turnovers that they get other than the opponent. So that's not sustainable. That's way above the average. Even though it's a great defense, turnovers, obviously, ball hits the ground, it can go anyway. I don't think they can sustain that. I think just that alone is a game or two. Trubisky, he took a step forward. Still doesn't have a whole lot of weapons. The wide receivers, Allen Robinson, this Anthony Miller. They did draft this kid, Dave Montgomery, supposed to be a pretty good running back, and they still got Tariq Cohen, but their kicking game is still a mess, which is something you left out, Duke, actually, in that game against Nick Foles. The double doinker, according to Tony Kornheiser on PTI. It was two doinks, and that would have won him the game. And so, I mean, just there's always turnover in the league. It's never the same teams again. Just for that reason alone, I had the Packers better than they were last year, and I definitely have Minnesota better than they were last year. I have Minnesota winning this division, actually. I still think Minnesota Vikings got a great defense. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, not a great quarterback, obviously, but I mean he's got two great wide receivers there in Thielen and Diggs. Dalvin Cook, if they keep him healthy all year. I believe Minnesota's going to win this division, but like I said, I got them beating Green Bay by a game. Got Green Bay winning this game tonight, which could be the difference. If Chicago wins this game tonight, maybe Chicago gets in that wild card instead of Green Bay. That's it's that close, really. But I'm going with Minnesota.
Fair enough. I knew you were going to probably go against the grain because generally you do like to do that from time to time, but you well brought good points for that one. Matt, you don't agree with the Minnesota pick. You're staying status quo as last year?
I'm behind the Bears, and I guess I'm a believer in Trubisky. I'm a believer in Trubisky in the second year. I think the offensive talent, I probably give them a little more credit than Blasey does. I think Allen Robinson is really good, and I think Anthony Miller, well, based on my fantasy teams, I really hope Anthony Miller does very well. The Montgomery hype train, if half of it comes true, he's going to be great, and Cohen is that guy that we would love to have in New England, and we would do wonders with him. So I hope it doesn't come down to their kicking game, but there's something I really enjoy Trubisky, and if he can minimize the mistakes with that defense. Again, it's a tough division, but I like the Bears. I don't know what the Vikings are doing. Kubiak coming in to help the offense is one thing, but Zimmer is such a defensive-minded coach and I don't know how those philosophies are going to match. I read an interesting article about it, like hoping that Kubiak and this young offensive coordinator could do some things to help Zimmer, but am I getting it right in Zimmer? Is that who it is? I don't want to do another San Diego Charger thing.
Like Zimmer.
So I don't know about, and I just hate Green Bay. Green Bay can't lose enough, so I'm hoping the Lions can beat them twice and somehow they can finish fourth. So
I'm usually the guy that picks with my heart, not my head. This is different.
We flipped today. Bears.
Well, I'm going to stay with that Chicago pick once again this year. There will be maybe some drop off from the defense. Interesting point about the 33, takeaways, turnovers last year. but I don't think it's going to change that dramatically. I don't know. I just think Chicago's one of those teams that they have enough to win that division. I'm not convinced about Green Bay yet. That again, it comes down to all the hype with Aaron Rodgers. He's even the guy that's coaching now, LaFleur, barely got through the door, and him and Rodgers was at it so soon. So it shows me Rodgers can't get along with anybody. I don't even know if he gets along with himself, but anyway,
No,
we'll
that's true.
We'll,
And he can't chug a beer.
And
he chugs worse than I do. And that's bad.
Geez, I don't know, Blasey. I would pay good bucks to you two pair off on that one. That would be worth
You'd have to time us with a calendar.
Well, fair enough. There's not a whole lot more to really talk about with the North. Nobody here is really a big fan, other than we do know our former boy Matt Patricia is the coach of the Detroit Lions. Some of the stuff I'm hearing about is that he doesn't have a clue what the hell he's doing there in Detroit. I don't know how much truth there is behind that. Offensively, he's probably like the Zimmer guy in Minnesota. He needs to just take his hands off it. And, whoever the coordinator is, let them kind of see what they can do with Stafford and Kerryon Johnson. Yeah, that's the guy I drafted the other night and stuff. So see how
Patricia doesn't have a clue, Duke. If not for Matt Patricia, we'd probably be going for 4 in a row this year.
I'm just telling you what's being said about the man as a head
coach. No, I agree. I agree. If he hadn't been the defensive coordinator against Philadelphia, we'd be going for 4 in a row right now.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
He's going to need a few more of those HB pencils.
Yeah.
I hope he's got a good pencil contract.
He's trying to pull Bill Belichick stuff when he's not Bill Belichick yet, and he never will be, is the problem. So he should do his own thing.
You're probably a nice guy, Matt. We appreciate what you did.
We do, except for losing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that little thing aside.
Right on. All right, moving on the flip side of the league, over into the AFC North, which is always a tough division. Things are changing in the AFC North. The familiar names are somewhat there, but not the same as it used to be. Some teams are still bad like they used to be. But going to be an interesting year. The darling of the Sunday night sports guys last year, the Cleveland Browns, made a lot of significant moves in the offseason.
Not all of us. Not all of us, dude.
Not all of us. Okay, fair enough.
The darling of you and Nate, by the way.
Right on.
Put that out there.
Right on. Fair enough. So it's going to be an interesting year. The Steelers obviously have moved on from Le'Veon Bell and, good God, Antonio Bryant. Does those moves, getting rid of all those headaches, how big a deal is that going to make in this season and in that division? Blasey, I'll let you start with this one.
Yeah, at first, we make fun of Lindsey and his Steelers and all that kind of stuff, of course. And, he told us that losing Bell, losing Brown's probably going to be better for him. We laughed at him. And then, as you look at it more, and obviously after what's going on today, you say, you know what, I think you're right. It's addition by subtraction. Bill Simmons has this thing called the Ewing theory, where when Patrick Ewing left the Knicks, he was the greatest player, since sliced bread, but he never could win. Then he left, and the next year, the Knicks go to the finals, and this could be one of those Ewing theory deals that you lose these great players, and they start to do better. But maybe not. But I do think. I think that they are going to be better than they were last year. I don't think they can be any worse. They didn't make playoffs, obviously. Juju Smith-Schuster turned into a great wide receiver. Connors filled in definitely as well as you could ask for. Roethlisberger is still Roethlisberger. He's getting older, but he's still there. I got them winning the division. I'm similar to last year. I think you and Nate were last year. The regular media. The fake news. The fake news media is too much on the Browns. And you know what? I don't think they're there yet. I think they're trying to crown them a little too quickly again. I think the Browns, they will get over that hump of 500 this year, which they didn't last year, but I think they're going to fall just short. Baltimore's still decent. They're going to be around 500, but Lamar's still needs a couple of years, I do believe, to do what he has to do. The Ravens got a good defense, but their offense is going to sputter. And then, of course, the Bengals are just god awful. But I got the Steelers winning that division, actually having a pretty good record and doing kind of pretty well. Not as good as Patriots, and they will lose on Sunday night like they normally do to the Patriots. But Steelers win the division. There you go. Browns finish over 500, but just fall short of the playoffs.
All right, well, I'll keep it right here because I don't want to screw up my logo that I got going there. I got the Steelers logo up, so I've picked the Steelers as well to win this division. It's funny how this works out. When I showed everybody that chart you had brought out, Bladesy, before even doing the chart, I was thinking, I was picking Cleveland to win the division. I think they just have, enough offensive talent there, and I think that the defense is going to feed off of it. But as I was doing the picks and each team and how it worked out that I ended up with, let me see here. I had the Steelers at 13-3, winning this division. And then I have the Browns getting the wild card at 12-4. So it's going to be a close season in the AFC North. Baltimore has fallen from grace. They're not quite what we thought they were going to be. Lamar Jackson still has to prove himself as a quarterback. These guys that run, these running quarterbacks, I'm telling you, it has not been proven on a consistent basis yet that that's a way to win. It just isn't. Pocket quarterback or bust if you're wanting to win a Super Bowl. And then we have the other joke in the AFC, the Cincinnati Bengals, whatever they call themselves. Got rid of, Marvin Lewis. You'd think that might make a change there. They don't do anything in free agency. And I think, did I hear the other day, their number one pick got hurt? He's out for the year. Is that true? Anybody hear that?
And then AJ Green is going to be out for the first part of the year, too.
And he's gone.
Probably the best player. So, really, they got Joe Mixon and nobody else.
Right on.
To be honest.
Yeah. So, you look at, everybody's going to be beating up on them. And you know what? I think in this day and age, it's not back. Like I remember back in the 70s growing up, and use a baseball analogy, the New York Yankees fought like cats and dogs. Billy Martin, Reggie Jackson, all that kind of deal going on. And them guys just knew how to win. I think it was just accepted behavior back then. Today, it's not the same. Continuity in the locker room, in the clubhouse, whatever you want to call it, is a key factor to teams winning in this day and age. And to be rid of the two nuisances that they have there in Pittsburgh, like you, as much as I hate to agree with Lindsey Brian, I think he's right. And I think it's going to make a big difference. I think Ben will be more settled down, and I actually kind of want to prove something. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder to show that, the recent year success that they've had wasn't all about, Antonio Brown. So it should be an interesting year. Mac, you did not pick the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this division. You went with the Cleveland Browns. Why is that?
I can't even go there yet because for three guys, all 50-ish age, growing up in this wonderful small-town fishing community, and how proud I've been to share a first name with you, and to have to sit and listen to the last 6 minutes of you two supposed New England Patriots fans sit on TV, on a YouTube video channel, and talk about the Steelers that way. I don't know if I've ever heard anything so blasphemous in my life. I don't know what Lindsay paid you. I don't know what possessed you. I don't care if Brady was traded to the Steelers and they had you do not do that. So let's get that out of the way first of all.
We're trying to work with our heads, T-Mac. We're trying to be,
You're a Patriots fan for a reason. Your head took you there. Don't abandon all that for the sake of making a couple points with Lindsey Brian. No.
I'm not making any points with Lindsey. They're still going to lose on Sunday night. I'm going to laugh and laugh and laugh.
So now that rant is over, I picked Cleveland not because I'm buying into the hype the same way the national media is. I think it's going to be an absolute dogfight in this division, Cincinnati notwithstanding. They're going to beat the crap out of each other, and I just think Cleveland's going to be the last team standing. I am kind of, when I hear Big Ben with a chip on his shoulder, I'm worried about Ben's shoulders, period. Like, I think this is a precipitous drop-off for Ben this year. the signs in so many games. I for some reason watched a lot of Pittsburgh last year, and the amount of bonehead decisions, the amount of you can still scramble, but I think Pittsburgh, and maybe it's just because I want it so badly, but I think everything that can go wrong will go wrong, and that's my prediction for them. I know Baltimore as well. I hear you 100% on the running quarterback, and it's another team that it's easy for me to hate. Cleveland, I just think there's lots of smoke being blown up their asses by the media and stuff, but Mayfield could be a true talent. Belichick had that deal for number 2 pick that we've heard about for a reason, because he saw that. And there is, and whether, I was at the Indians game earlier this summer, and when they had Mayfield on the big screen in the park and he chugged that beer, they didn't need a calendar to measure his speed on that chug.
No.
And they are so overdue for something good to happen. And I just think it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be pretty. But I think the Browns are going to do it. And if the Bengals can somehow slip ahead of the Steelers for that 3rd place in the division and Pittsburgh loses 18 games, they're the only team playing an 18-game schedule this year, so they can go 0-18. It's going to be a great year. And I'd like you two to send me your Pats fan club cards at the end of this broadcast.
Mac, we have a massive audience. We have to appeal to mass numbers here. So we do have some Steeler followers in the midst. So we, it's about dollars and cents here as well. You got to keep that stuff in mind. You got to get that media curve going, buddy.
Yeah. Check your brains at the door.
Fair enough. All right. Well, let's keep going. On to the NFC South, which is going to be an interesting division. Once again, this year, obviously the Saints have quite an axe to grind after that horrendous, terrible call in the NFC Championship game. Saw clips of that again the other day. Before we get into the picks and that, was that probably the worst non-call you've ever seen in an NFL in a pivotal playoff game? Can anybody point out one worse than that?
No, I don't know how you could. Yeah,
Wow.
It was bad.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I'm actually worried, and maybe again it's because I've heard Simmons in a couple, but what this new rule is going to look like. Like, I fear there's more black eyes ahead, because if some of the preseason reversals and non-reversals are any indication, we could have a lot of warts in working this out.
I don't think this is the answer, to be honest with you, about this challenge. But if they do what I think they'll do, and that it will only overturn egregious mistakes like that one, then that will work. But if they're going to overturn every little ticky-tack pass interference, we're going to be in trouble, because it's going to.
So just to help everybody that's watching that maybe don't quite understand everything, explain what you're talking about there with regards to this new rule that's come out. What's the purpose of the rule and its intent?
Go ahead, Troy, if you want.
No, you take it.
Okay.
You're the umpire in the crew.
Yeah. So, what happened? I mean, obviously, after this, horrible non-call that they, on the Saints. Or on the Rams, they came up with this great idea that they're going to have another challenge that a coach can challenge pass interference. Whereas before you can only challenge, catches, no catches, spots, things like that. Now you can challenge a pass interference or non-pass interference. Now, from what I saw in the preseason, I didn't see a whole lot. I watched a couple of Patriots games, but from what I saw is that, when they were close pass interferences and they weren't called pass interference, it was not overturned. I may be wrong, but from what I saw, they weren't overturned. And I do believe that that's what, most of it was, just listen to Patriots announcers, obviously, because that's all I watched in the preseason. So lacking those guys, was that, this was really just if it was so horribly egregious like that, non-call, that they will overturn it. But if it's something that could have gone either way, then it's going to go, let the play stand how it was called on the field. And I think that's the best way it can happen. I don't know if you know something different, T-Mac, tell me.
No, you've captured what my thinking is and have heard about it. I agree.
Okay.
So I mean, if it stops something that happened to the Saints last year, then all for it. And as a former umpire, I mean, obviously in baseball we've got replay now, and it's there and it's there to stay. So bottom line is get the call right. But,
It's just it's just like fantasy. Let's try something. Let's see if it works. And if it don't work, and if it don't work, guess what? We can always take it out.
Oh God! Oh God!
Thank you, Troy Blades. Very good too.
We need a power outage.
Anyhow, let's get to the matter at hand, and that is the NFC South. With the aforementioned New Orleans Saints, does that, that debacle last year, does that motivate them to win the NFC South? T-Mac, I'll let you start with this one. You got them, or do you see it going elsewhere?
No, I've got them, and I don't even think they'll need the motivation of it. It'll certainly help, but I just think Tampa Bay has so much to work out. Carolina, there are some things that I like, but I still don't see enough there behind after McCaffrey, and the defense is getting old. And Atlanta, I think motivation or not, New Orleans is just they're too good. I don't want to even it seems pretty simple.
Okay. Bladesy, you got anything to offer up to that, to anybody in that division that could maybe make it close? Can Atlanta make it close? They seem to be the most likely one there. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think, you say about motivation. I say it's, after two devastating losses, actually, because if you go back 2 years ago, the Saints had that game won in Minnesota and gave up the stupidest play in the history of the game. The guy went and tried to tackle nobody. Nobody knows what the hell was going on there. So they lose that one. People say nobody can come back from that. They go last year to the NFC Championship game and should have won, and the referee screwed them. And I don't say that lightly. The referee screwed them. I'm sorry. The former umpire, I won't, even if it's a bad call. But obviously, they got screwed. 2 years in a row. But if anybody can overcome that, I believe that's, Drew Brees, obviously, like a lot of people that we've talked about already, is coming to the end of his rope. And, he's won a Super Bowl, but I'm sure he'd like another one. He's so close. They have an outstanding offense, with Michael Thomas and Kamara and these guys. Their defense is a lot better than it was. Once they got rid of the Ryan tree there, Rob Ryan there a few years ago, which was the worst defense in the history of football. They've built that back up. I do believe that New Orleans is going to win that division and maybe go to the Super Bowl. I think Atlanta's going to have a great year. I do believe that Atlanta, Matt Ryan will. Matt Ryan had a good year last year. He had a great year. A couple of years ago. With Julio Jones and these guys. They're, I think Atlanta's going to be right there, and I do believe Atlanta will get the wild card. I think Cam Newton's shoulder, I'm not convinced that it's in good shape. I do believe that I don't know how long he's going to last, and Carolina only goes as far as Cam Newton's going to take them, as far as I'm concerned. Their defense, not as great as it used to be. I think Riverboat Ron could be in trouble. Well, Ron Rivera could be in trouble if they start out slow. And then Tampa Bay, I do believe, unfortunately, now we got 4 teams. I think Tampa Bay is going to be sneaky good. I think they're going to be sneaky good this year. So I think Winston, these guys, it's about his time. He was number 1 draft pick. And I think but it's a great division, probably the best division in football, top to bottom. And Tampa Bay could get up there over 500, I believe. They may take over 3rd, but I think Atlanta and New Orleans are too good. New Orleans will win the division. I got Atlanta winning the wild card.
Well, I also have New Orleans winning that division as well, so we do all agree on this point. Ironically, though, Bladesy, I couldn't think you couldn't be more wrong than what you just said about Tampa Bay. You're giving them what, 5? Did you say 500?
Well, no, I said they could get to 500. I got them at 7-9, but I got them at 2.
I got them at 2-14.
Well, you're wrong.
I give them a win against Carolina, and I give them a win against Arizona, both home games. After that,
I got bad news for you. They're going to beat San Francisco this weekend.
That would be the only other one you could convince me maybe that can happen. But I'm still going to go with the Niners in that one. So
They play the Giants at home.
Yep.
They play at Tennessee. They play Arizona at home.
Yeah,
they play Indy at home.
No, they're going to go. They're going 0-8 on the road.
Oh my
You may as well figure that into your sports line betting there while we're at it.
So. I got to win in at Tennessee. Tennessee sucks, dude. I got to win. I got Tennessee winning one game. So.
What have I got for Tennessee? Where am I? Here's my notes here. Tennessee. I got Tennessee at 2-14 too.
Well, there you go. So there's the difference.
Yeah, going to be a lot of bad teams this year. Stuff, so, all right, gentlemen, that's enough for the NFC North. Down goes the Saints. South. Sorry, thank you. We're moving along to the AFC South, and of all the 8 divisions that we're going to discuss, this is the one division where the whole 3 of us do not agree on anything. We all have a different winner. So I'll start this one off. And where am I here? There we go. I am picking the Indianapolis Colts to win this division minus Andrew Luck. And not that I know a whole lot about the Colts. I go off of a lot of things what I've read. I don't follow every team to the dime like Nate does. But I hear stuff, I listen, I watch other YouTube channels, some podcast stuff like that. And this team, in some people's eyes, were projected to go to the Super Bowl. I have no idea if there's any substance to that whatsoever, but I heard enough of it that I have to say to myself, maybe they're a pretty good team. Super Bowl caliber, I'll leave that alone if you're going to put them in the same breath with the Patriots and the Chiefs and Steelers, Chargers. That could be a hefty hill.
Oh my God, you said the Steelers again. Let it go.
That's a soft spot.
I can't control it. I can't control it.
That is a soft spot. But nonetheless, I'm picking Indianapolis. I think, a little bit of me, not that I have a whole lot of rooting interest for Jacoby Brissett. He wasn't in New England long enough to get kind of tied to it all. But there's a guy that's going to get a chance to prove his mettle. And I think if they use him wisely, utilize what he is good at, just manage the game, they do have enough other weapons to be able to make a difference. Houston, I think, with the Clowney deal, that didn't help them whatsoever. Deshaun Watson, he's great to watch, great for fantasy. I don't know if he has enough to be able to get them up over the hurdle of the Texans. Who's the other one? Jacksonville. And what did I pick Jacksonville at? I had them at 9-7, not making the playoffs either or a wild card. So, yeah, I'm going to roll with Indy at 11-5, and clearly you two disagree with me on that one. So, Bladesy, I'm going to let you start first with your pick.
How are you getting them to 11-5, Duke?
11-5, the Colts. Okay, hold on. Then, if you're going to question me,
they're playing the AFC West and at the Chargers at Kansas City.
They're going to lose to the Chargers. They're going to lose to Kansas City. They're going to lose to the Steelers. They're going to lose to Houston. And they're going to lose to Jacksonville. All them other games, New Orleans.
You got to win in New Orleans.
I got to winning in New Orleans.
Oh my jeez.
That one could be the one. Now Bladesy, I'm sure there's some of your picks that you could be debated about changing your mind.
No, you can't debate any of mine.
None of mine? Okay. Fair enough.
No. Well, I'll tell you. Okay. Well, I'm going to say I think the Colts, the hype train has gone too far on the Colts both ways. I really think that the hype train, when Luck was going to play, or maybe he was going to play, and their over-under win total was 9.5, which is crazy. They weren't that good. I don't care if Luck played or not. I think that's more of a fake media news as well, fake news media, because this is just same thing as Kansas City, same thing as Cleveland. All of media, it goes back to this. Everybody wants to crown the next person that's going to beat the Patriots. That's all they want to do. There you go, T-Mac. They all want to do that. So if Luck showed a sign of life last year, they wanted to crown him. They weren't that good. They weren't going to win 10 games with Luck. But that means they're not going to win more without Luck than they were with him. So, I mean, when I went over it, and I did this, be honest with you, right after Luck retired. So I was a little bit skewed, a little bit too much the other way. I actually went and had them winning 4 games this year. I think they probably could win 6 or 7, but I can't see them winning more than that. Jacoby Brissett's not a bad quarterback. I mean, I think he's going to be okay. But their defense is still not great. It's good, better than it used to be. Their offensive line is better than it used to be. I mean, that's the whole reason that Andrew Luck is where he is right now, is because they didn't have a good offensive line, and they killed him. They killed the poor man. But they got a decent team. I think they're a 6 or 7 win team. I'm going with the same team I went with last year, and the Houston Texans. I believe that Deshaun Watson, another year under his belt. I think Deshaun Watson is a pretty damn good quarterback. You know what? You got oh my God, what's his name?
Hopkins?
DeAndre Hopkins.
What's that? DeAndre Hopkins.
Hopkins.
Yeah, exactly. So they got Hopkins. They got Fuller. You know what? They've got, their running game is not the greatest, with dude that got hurt. But, they got Duke Johnson. And then, they just picked up Carlos Hyde. But I think that's going to be, just a throw-in kind of thing. Their defense is great. It's been great. Or let's not say great. It's above average. Defense is above average. I think that's a good team. I think Houston is the team to beat in that division again. But I do believe Jacksonville is going to be a lot better than they were last year. I think they go back a little bit more to what they were 2 years ago when they went to the AFC Championship game. Obviously they got a better quarterback now than they did then. And Nick Foles is not the greatest quarterback that ever lived. People want to crown him just because he won 1 Super Bowl. I mean, he's not that good during the regular season, but he's better than Blake Bortles. So, I'm saying Houston's going to win the division. Jacksonville will have a good season and take a wild card. But I don't have Indy in there. And then who else? Tennessee, I got them winning 1 game. I think they're horrible.
Fair enough. I will take that into consideration, what you have said, but
I'm sure you will.
11-5. 11-5, Blazy. You heard it here first. All right, Mac, you are against the grain as well. You don't believe in Houston. You don't believe in Indy. So that leaves you believing in who have you got for the AFC South?
The Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm pretty close to Bladesy. I've basically flipped them. I have Jacksonville winning it and Houston as the wild card. Indy was a nice story last year. Frank Reich's a good guy. It's easy to get behind them trying to turn it around. And Luck was a good guy, but I think a lot of things went right, and I don't think that's going to happen this year. Mike Vrabel was one of my favorite Patriots, and I would love him to be successful, but poor Marcus Mariota, I don't think he's a franchise quarterback for anybody. Davis is a nice wide receiver, and their defense is good, so let's get that out of the way. Houston, Watson, and Hopkins are amazing. My fear is I don't think, we're not going to debate the Tunsil trade and how bad that was. I just worry that Tunsil isn't this huge upgrade that they're hoping he's going to be. If he is, and that provides the time for Watson, then maybe I should be flipping my picks. But the loss of Lamar Miller with Bladesy, me, and Duke as the 3rd, 4th, and 5th string running backs in Houston, pretty much, they better hope that the real Duke Johnson does okay. I just think you've got the double doink, and now you've got the Bortles bounce. And I cannot imagine being a Jacksonville Jaguar defensive player and being able to look and not see Bortles anymore and see Nick Foles. He doesn't have to be great. He doesn't have to be very good. He just needs to be good. And what difference that could make in your mentality, knowing that you haven't got to shut a team down to have a prayer to win. They've got a lot of defensive talent there, and I think that's going to step up. And I also think it's the Leonard Fournette redemption tour. Hearing about how he had this new weight loss program, and that would have sucked to be him and listened about how he's washed off all year long. And I think the bounce Foles is going to give him. Fournette is going to run wild, and I think that defense is just going to be so relieved that they can try to make a few more plays and not worry that if they miss one, So for Very similar to Bladesy. Jacksonville winning it. Houston is a wild card.
Can I just jump in there, Duke? I'm sorry I went through all that and I didn't even mention those trades. And actually, I do want to mention those trades by Bill O'Brien or whoever's the GM there now, or going to be the GM or whatever it is. Listen, I mean, Clowney is Clowney. He's a decent player. He's way overrated. Obviously Houston got fleeced on that trade. Seattle gave him nothing. I mean, they might as well just drop the poor guy. I think they traded for him, and then they're paying half his contract, from what I hear. So, I mean,
the other thing is they would have got a third-round pick if he left at the end of the year.
Yeah, so they got less than a third-round pick. Yeah, so that was the shit. So that was stupid. Now, the other one was stupid in another way. Now, they have just decimated their team for the next X number of years, because they've just given away like 4 or 5 top-end draft picks over the next 2 or 3 years to Miami for a left tackle and a washed-up wide receiver. The left tackle, this Tunsil's supposed to be one of the best, and I think that this is going to improve this team this year. This is why I'm actually going to say that I think they're going to win this division. I thought they were going to win the division before this trade even happened, but I do think this is going to help them, because Deshaun Watson does need protection. This is his problem, that he's been hit more than anybody else. Maybe except Andrew Luck. But, I believe that this left tackle, as we know, left tackle is, one of the most important place, protect the blind side, as Sandra Bullock would say. And so, I think this trade this year, this one with Miami this year, is actually helping them. But in the future, Houston's going to be screwed. Obviously, you lose a couple first-round draft picks and things. But I do believe that trade, I had them win the division before the trade happened. I do think this makes them a little bit better. No. All in all.
Make one point. The trade's even worse than you said, because you said Kenny Stills was washed up. You had to be good in the first place to ever be washed up.
That's true.
So I don't think he can achieve washed-up status.
This is true.
Well, the good thing I like out of this whole AFC South discussion is that by midseason, both of you are going to be coming to the Dukester and seeking betting advice, because you're going to realize that what he's predicted about the Indianapolis Colts is just pure magic. 11-5, gentlemen. 11-5.
We'll see him.
You make up for all you lose on the Steelers.
Moving right along.
0-3 to start the year.
What's that?
Colts 0-3 to start the year.
0-3.
Yeah.
That again. Losing. Yeah, they're not going to go 0-3. They're playing Tennessee, so
it's at Tennessee.
Yeah. 11-5.
Good Mariota to show up that day.
Yeah.
You heard.
Pass touchdown to himself.
All right, so let's move to the NFC East, and this one's a pretty slam dunk. I don't even have to wait to put up the logo. I'm just going to put the Eagles, because all three of us are picking the Eagles to win that division. Going to be a tight race, I think, between them and the Cowboys. What has to happen, gentlemen, for Dallas to potentially win that division aside from injury? Is it just injury that's going to prohibit Philadelphia from winning that, or does Dallas have a legit shot? T-Mac, we'll let you start.
That Dallas defense could be really good. Those 3 linebackers they've got, with Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith, I think if that Dallas, it's kind of what I'm hoping our Patriots defense does. And if Dallas defense can be the NFC version of that, and I'm not a believer in Prescott, but he doesn't have to be great. He just needs to be good. That offensive line is great. So I don't know. I just believe Wentz is really good. And if they've got enough weapons there for them, they've got a good defense. I just think they're deeper, and I like their coach. I don't like the Cowboys coach. So it might come down to coaching and whether Dallas' defense is as good as I think it will be.
Right on. I don't know. The whole Carson Wentz thing, I keep hearing more and more. And for a guy who's never played a playoff game, who's now the highest paid quarterback in the game, I haven't watched. I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've seen the guy play yet. Maybe a few highlights and things like that. Bladesy, is he really that good? I mean, does he deserve the hype that he's getting? And also, what's it going to take for Dallas to unseat Philadelphia?
Well, that was kind of why I was wishing you were just going to throw it to me, because I'm going to pull a Bill Simmons and say, "Is Carson Wentz really good?" because we're not sure. I don't think anybody's really sure. Everybody seems to be sure. Everybody thinks he's the greatest quarterback ever, but I haven't seen it. I mean,
I think he's really good.
Really? Okay.
Not
all right. That's
great,
what people say.
No, not the greatest, but I think he's really good. And
That's
I think he
say.
moves that offense with those two good tight ends. I think they scare me as a team. I don't want the like.
I mean, they've got a couple decent running backs, but no great one. They've got a couple decent wide receivers, but no great one. They've got a great tight end. You know, they got a good.
You just described the Patriots.
Well, they don't have a great tight end, Patriots.
No, but before what you just described was the Patriots.
Yeah, but there is one major difference. They don't have Tom Brady.
No, you're right.
All right. Well, that's the X factor right there. Yeah. No matter what else.
But we're only talking about them winning their division, not the Super Bowl.
Yes, no, I understand, and I have them winning the division. Obviously, yeah. Duke City put up the logo for good, and to be honest, I have them winning division by a substantial amount. I don't have the Dallas Cowboys winning. I got them at 8-8, 9-7, something like that. But I think like I said, that's. I mean, I don't think the Eagles are as great as everybody thinks they are. But such a bad division. They've got a pretty easy schedule. I'm pretty sure they're going to win that division. But like you said, Dallas, they got just such a horrible coach that you can't really even pick them. So we'll go Eagles. Let's just say they got the two worst teams in the NFC in their division. Even worse than Detroit, even worse than Arizona. The Giants and Washington are both horrible this year.
Yeah. So no hope of Dallas overcoming that by the sounds. You got them pretty back at least 4 games by the sounds there.
That's what I got.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll kind of get to Dallas after the fact, see if they survive the cut for the playoffs. So we will move along to our division, the AFC East. And once again, another logo that's going to go up and doesn't need to be changed. It isn't just the fact of that we're all three of us are Patriot guys. I think just looking at it objectionably, there is nothing in there. This probably is going to be the most lopsided division on the cusp of it. But I'll tell you what, I think, not that I think anybody else is going to win the division, don't get me wrong. A team in that division that I do think is going to have a better season, and you never know, with a few breaks, might even snuff a wild card, though I don't have them getting that, is the Buffalo Bills. And I think I'm hearing enough about their defense. I heard one place say something about top 5. Is that a bit over the top? Anybody else hearing that their defense could potentially be that good, or has that been an exaggeration I heard?
Well, T-Mac gets all the Buffalo talk being in Ontario, so let him.
Yeah, I think that's best case. That's ceiling.
Okay.
If everything breaks right, to me, it's how much pressure is that offense going to put on the defense. Like if you take away some of those amazing scrambles that Josh Allen made, they talk about him thinking of fantasy, comparing him to Jackson and others. The difference is Jackson has designed runs. Allen just was able to scramble, and they are counting on a lot of unproven Cole Beasleys. That offense could be bad, and as it's kind of like me and the Leafs. Like, I'm a Habs fan. I hope the Leafs do okay, and as a Pats fan, I kind of the 3 other teams in the AFC East, I kind of like the Bills to do okay. But I don't know, Duke. I think their defense can be good, but I think that's the ceiling. I think that's if everything goes right.
Mac, might I say, as harsh as you have been on me about the Steelers, you, in the course of an NFL preview, have done the 2 most unsacred things you can do to this broadcast. You have sabotaged this broadcast. Between wearing that hat, and that's how I'll refer to it, that hat, and now referring the name of a team who I despise only below the New York Yankees. Do not ever give me a hard time about mentioning the Steelers, my friend.
Which team did I mention? The Bills?
No, the Leafs.
Oh.
Jeepers, man. Oh, we got another month to go for that. You can have your say then.
Whatever you're feeling about the Leafs is how I feel about the Bruins. So right back at you.
All right, gentlemen.
And difference is you bled the tricolor red, white, and blue for many decades before you defected to the communist bloc Bruins. So
No, it's not that. I had a Jesus moment in hockey. That's all it was.
He crawled over the Berlin Wall, man. Freedom! Freedom for the Dipster!
But here's the Mac. Here's the thing. Can you imagine, knowing that our good friend Bladesy here, how much he just is passionate about Tom Brady? Can you imagine if he had become a Montreal Canadiens fan? Oh my dear, he'd have been worse than me.
Well, we've never been a Montreal Canadiens fans.
Well, I know that.
And the difference between us, Duke, I never will be.
True enough.
our arms are wide open, Blakey.
No.
Come join us at any time. Duke left an open spot for you.
I'll be a Leafs fan before I'm a Canadiens fan, for sure.
Well, we
just bringing it
I
back.
don't know. This is what I don't understand. How could you hate the Leafs? They haven't won in our lifetime. Well, yeah,
Exactly.
maybe they won. Maybe you were like less than one, I think, when they won that cup, right? 67. So, but you don't remember. No, Duke was.
Yeah.
Duke was born in the end of 66, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So you know what? But I don't know how you can hate a team that's that bad. It's kind of like hating the Jets. It's like I hate the Jets. I hated them more when Rex Ryan was there because he made it so easy, and they look like they might be all right for a bit. But you know what? That kind of stick doesn't last very long. So, but
I tell all the kids at school that I'm a Leafs sympathizer.
there you go. See,
I hate the Bruins and I'm a Leafs sympathizer.
There you go. Feel bad for the Leafs.
Well,
Can I just say, sorry, Duke, go ahead, because I'm going to take it back to football.
No, go ahead, sir.
Could we have a historic number of brutal football teams this year? Like when I look at the Dolphins and some of these teams, we could have 6 or 7 teams that win less than 3 games.
Here's what I got. I got Arizona 3-13. I got Cincinnati 3-13, and I think I'm being generous there. I have Miami at 2-14. I have the Jets at 3-13. Tampa Bay 2-14. Tennessee 2-14, and Washington 2-14. And I'm pretty sure both of you would agree with me. Other than Troy did pick Tennessee to probably get maybe 5 or 6 wins.
I'll get Tennessee winning 1.
Oh yeah, Tennessee. Who was the one you had?
Tampa Bay.
I got Tampa winning 7.
You had Tampa was better than what I had there for sure.
But I see a good 7 or 8 teams that could win 3 games or less.
Yeah.
Like some really, really bad teams.
Yeah.
And it's been a while since we've had so many really bad teams.
Well,
I got at least 8. All right, I got 8 that could do that.
Yeah.
Well,
Miami
you got 4
Miami,
or 5
Oakland,
teams.
Tennessee, Cincinnati. Yeah, there's at least 4 in each conference.
The Ticats from Hamilton are ready to join the AFC East in Miami's place.
But you know what? The way it works is it all washes out, and you won't have that. You'll have you'll have your 3 or 4 teams that are going to be 2 to 4 wins, and then a bunch of them will be 5 to 7. So
yeah, you're right.
That's the way it works. It's the NFL. It's parity. It's the way it goes.
I do have the Patriots going 13-3, and one of those 3 losses is going to come in Week 4 on the road in Buffalo. So to me, that's my going out on a limb pick as far as that division goes. There's nothing else really you could pick for that. What is going to be the big story in New England? Obviously, we hear what we hear in the offseason, and a lot of it I think is just media fluff to give them something to talk about and chew on over the year. Is this Brady-Belichick situation, is that going to continue to fester more and more, or is it just media guff trying to create a story? What does either of you guys think about what's going to happen in New England this year? Go ahead, please.
What's going to happen? Same things happen for years and years, man. They're going to go out there, they're going to do their shit, and they're going to end up hopefully in the Super Bowl, but at least in the AFC Championship game. Mm-hmm. I don't get this. They've been trying to do this, trying to put a wedge between these guys for years and years and years. The Garoppolo thing. Bill didn't want to trade Jimmy G. Now he's pissed off. Well, they've been to 3 Super Bowls since then. Won 2 of them. All this foolishness. You talk about this Stidham. Stidham is there because They're paying him less than they were going to pay Hoyer, and they're only going to take one quarterback, and he showed some signs. Obviously, Brady's not going to be there forever. I'm hoping he's there 3 more years. I hope he plays until he's 45, especially if he plays like this. He's been to 3 straight Super Bowls. I don't understand what is going on here. Why? Especially you, dude. Why would you talk about this shit? I mean, man, oh man.
Hey, his fan club card is already in question, so there's lots of evidence of why.
You can put my fan club card in question, but man, don't put my Brady card in question. I'll tell you that, because I mean, he has made the last 19 years of watching football very, very enjoyable every single time. And you know what? Nobody else, no other fan can say that. Like no other fan base, anyway, that can say that. No. So, but you know what? We don't know if it's going to last forever. But let me tell you something. He's already proven everybody wrong. No matter how long this shit lasts, I'll be on board. And I'm not worried about Belichick, worrying about his legacy and all this stuff. I don't think that's even in question. I think they got to ride or die, man. I think they're riding or die until one of them goes. I think Belichick's got too much to lose, man. I think if he gets rid of Brady first and wants to try to ride with Stidham and thinks that he can win with this rookie, and he doesn't, and he falls flat on his ass, it really taints his whole legacy. I think it's better for him. I mean, he can't get any better. He's already the greatest. Why would he?
Belichick doesn't want to do that. I'm not even listening to the Boston Sports Radio, but that's great stuff for them to say to get people like us fired up calling in. It's brilliant. Brilliant broadcasting, brilliant programming.
It makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Everybody says Belichick is the greatest. Why would he want to, at 67 years old, why would he want to do anything to try to ruin that? You can't go anywhere but up.
Why would he? Because it all comes down to this.
You can't go anywhere but down, I mean, if you're already at the top.
But it all comes back to why a lot of stuff happens over the years. Why do great singers and great bands, why do they choose to want to leave and try to go off on their own and try to make their career? It never works. The split never works, right? But they still go ahead and do it. I would say this. Brady has all the leverage in this situation. He leverages everything out. I agree with you. Belichick has more to lose than Brady does. Because if Belichick got his wish, which I'm not inclined to say he will, but we'll say for the sake of argument he does, and he does not win, and it doesn't come off very good, he will have crucified himself historically. He would have gone from being the greatest to whatever. He still will be the greatest coach, but it'll come with kind of like an asterisk beside him, and they'll say, oh, by the way, Tom Brady didn't play in a few years. You know, the years Brady didn't play, let's look at his record, right? To me, it's a case of it's a marriage that was made in football heaven and has been highly successful. And yes, I do agree. Why do we bring it on the show? Because the viewers demand it, Blades. We got to give the people what they want. I know you don't like discussing this.
But you're exactly right. Is that, you know, Brady has nothing to lose now. He could play as shitty as any shit quarterback has played in the history of the NFL this year. He's 42. He's supposed to. You know, he'll probably play better than any other 42-year-old quarterback that's ever played. None of them would have had 6 Super Bowls.
I'll tell you. You know what I hope for Brady? I hope he's able to. I hope he can pull a Poppy. I hope even if they don't win a Super Bowl year, that he has a good year himself. They don't win, and he can say, you know what? I'm 43. I'm 44. Maybe it's time. I just don't want to see like Gretzky.
Well, it's fine.
Like Gretzky
That's
stayed.
Fine. I don't need him to go to 45.
No.
Like you. I don't want to see him pull a Joe Montana and play too long, or, you know, Peyton Manning for that matter, even though Peyton Manning did win a Super Bowl that last year. You know, he was obviously, you know, people are still going to say, well, he won the Super Bowl, so it doesn't matter. And it wouldn't. If Brady played a shitty year and still won the Super Bowl, it wouldn't matter. I agree. I totally agree with that. But, you know, he's 42. The man, we could cut off. When did Joe Montana retire? About 36 years old. I think if you put Brady's career in 2 halves, you know, up until 36 years old and 36 and after, I think he's got 2 Hall of Fame careers there. I think I've seen 3 Super Bowls in each, and just unreal numbers. Like, it's not even close. And I really hope it doesn't happen. I really hope Brady retires as a Patriot. I hope he doesn't, need to go somewhere else to finish whatever he needs to finish. But if he does, I'll part to him. And guess what? Whatever team he goes to, I'll be a fan of that team until he retires. I gotta promise you.
Well,
It'll be my guarantee. He's given us enough that I'll ride or die with him if Bill don't want to.
Well, I'm sure one Robert Kraft's going to have a lot to say in anything that happens with Brady. He did with the whole Garoppolo, assuming that the stories you hear were true. I think, like you, a lot of it gets exaggerated and things like that. So, anyway,
Bladesy,
gentlemen,
I just have to say, after that soliloquy, Bladesy, you can keep your fan card. You're good. Dude, we'll give you a little more time. Can I just say one thing? It's funny to talk about Brady, to talk about Gronk, to talk about Belichick, to talk about Josh Gordon, Edelman, N'Keal Harry, all these pieces. When this whole run started, we were excited about Brady, but that defense, when I remember the early Patriots years, and I am so excited about this defense, and I love everything about Brady. I'm wearing his shirt. I love it all, but I am so excited to possibly have a defense again that we don't need Brady in the offense in the same way.
And the running game.
Absolutely. All those people, I'm probably more excited about this year for the defense and for those pieces that whether we win or not, it's just
Brady's not gonna have a great fantasy year. I hope people understand that, regardless, because that's not the way they're built now. He's gonna do what needs to be done to win the games. And if he doesn't throw for 300 yards every game, you know what? Screw off. He won the game. So
I can't wait to see Darrell Bennett and Winovich flying around there, the secondary shutting people down. I'm so pumped about the defense, and if this is good for the Pats haters,
and the secondary is one of the best in the league. Not to mention,
and people don't argue that anymore.
No,
everybody agrees on that.
Yeah, Hightower, all these guys. So we're good.
We're
good. We don't even have to argue this one.
No,
I do think honestly, I'm with you, Duke. I think Buffalo is a little better than they have been. I think the Jets are getting a little bit better as well. Miami's obviously tanking. They'll be lucky to win a game and not just because I don't think they want to, for lack of a better term. But yeah, not this year, people. Maybe another year.
All right, so we got about 10, 15 minutes left here to go. Let's move to our wild cards, and I also want your conference final matchup. We'll do that for each conference, and then we're going to give our Super Bowl prediction. So let's start first with the NFC. Bladesy, who have you got getting the wild cards in the NFC?
I got Atlanta and Green Bay.
Okay.
Yeah, and nobody really. Yeah, Atlanta, Green Bay. Like I said, if Chicago has another good year, it wouldn't surprise me. But I'm gonna be old school, and I'm gonna go with Rodgers as much as I dislike the man. We'll say Atlanta, Green Bay.
Well, I took Green Bay. Oops, I hit the wrong one. I hit the friggin' Chicago Bears. Give me a chance here, gentlemen. I'm still trying to learn the tech side of this. All right, take those two off. Mac, who you got going?
I have Dallas and Green Bay. I wish I picked Green Bay, but I didn't do all the schedule stuff, but I kept coming back to them. So Dallas and Green Bay.
Dallas and Green Bay. There we go there. Over here. And where have I got my stuff here? I got notes all over the table. I got Dallas and the Falcons. Dallas at 11-5. Atlanta at 10-6.
We each got at least one the same.
One the same. Didn't need to change. There wasn't too. Didn't even actually need an extra logo to put up on the screen. Did pretty good on that one. Okay, so down go the Cowboys. Packers, you're gone. NFC, you're toast for a bit. All right, let's go to the AFC. T-Mac, who you got going for the wild card in the AFC?
I have Kansas City and Houston. Again, you could flip-flop Houston and Jacksonville. You could flip-flop Kansas City and San Diego to me. So those are the four, to me, heads and shoulders above the rest.
Okay. Lazy, what you saying in the AFC for wild
Yeah,
cards?
well, I'm exactly the opposite of T-Mac. We're the same, I guess you'd say. I'm the same as T-Mac, except the opposite.
Okay.
I got the Chargers in Jacksonville
All
in the
right.
wild card because I have Houston and Kansas City to win their divisions. But
Okay.
we have the same teams making the playoffs in the AFC, obviously. Except I got Pittsburgh and he's got the Browns, but you know.
Yep. Yep.
we've already had that conversation.
Yes. Can't revisit the same thing twice. All right. I'm taking the Chargers and the Browns to make the wild card. Yeah, I'm drinking the brownie Kool-Aid, and of course, I think we all agree the Chargers are going to be. Mac thinks they're going to win the division. Blades and I think the wild card. So we're all pretty clear cut on the Chargers making the playoffs. So with that being said, let's discuss conference final and who's going to the Super Bowl. Bladesy, conference final, AFC.
I'm going to be pretty boring because I'm going to have the rematch of Patriots Kansas City. Now, obviously, I believe I have playing in Arrowhead this year if things go the way I think. But, obviously that'll be... it'll all depend on that game, Kansas City and New England. I think if New England can win that game in the regular season, that could be the tiebreaker. But I got the Patriots Kansas City again.
Okay. AFC for you in the conference final, Mac.
I want it to be New England and Jacksonville. I have a weird desire for Jacksonville to be successful, and I don't hate Blake Bortles. I just think I feel so bad for that team and that franchise that they just need something good to happen because that was a long run with a really bad quarterback. So that's what I want, but I feel it's going to be New England and Kansas City again as well.
Okay. I'm going New England and the Steelers. In case Mac didn't hear
That
that.
surprised me.
I somehow think those two teams are going to find a way to make it. Although, based on what I've said for records, I'd have to kind of recant on one of them, though. Yeah. No, I think I got to stay with Blake. I think the Chiefs and New England again. I would agree. Also, that game in Foxborough could be the home field advantage one there, but I'm picking Kansas City to win that game based on the picks I did. So another trip to Arrowhead. NFC, Mac, who are you going with there?
I had the most trouble with this of all. I ended up with Chicago and New Orleans. I don't know. I had it every different way. I had basically the Rams, Philadelphia, Chicago, and New Orleans in every type of combination. And I keep coming back to New Orleans. Third time's the charm. And I don't know. There's kind of I'm hoping for the Bears to put it together. So Chicago, New Orleans.
Okay. Blades, NFC.
I'm going to be born again. Rams Saints. This
Rematch.
time, no shitty call.
No shitty call. So that's a bit of a tip of the cap, maybe. I'm going to go more out on a limb. I picked Dallas to win the wild card. I'm buying into Skip Bayless. More and more I listen to Skip. And don't you get mad at Skip, Blazy, because he backs the Patriots big time.
I know he does. I got no problem with Skip, but
he's a big Patriot
anybody
fan.
that says I back Skip Bayless, I don't know. That's not a good start to your conversation.
So Dallas and New Orleans in the conference final. All right, so that takes us to the Super Bowl, the granddaddy of them all. Matt, go first. Who you got in the Super Bowl and winning it?
Pat Saints. I think a Breeze, Brady, Super Bowl, and the twilight of those two guys' careers could be like a movie script. Like there's so many pieces there. Two great coaches, two great quarterbacks, lots of offensive talent. So I have Pat Saints, and because the Patriots defense is so amazing, do you need a score from me? Is that what you asked?
No, we won't go that far with a score.
Okay.
when we get the Super Bowl
Good.
time, we do a show close to that game. We'll go
Perfect.
scores.
Okay. Pats and Saints with the Pats winning, and Brady deciding that life with Giselle will be okay, taking his 7 Super Bowls, and
selling
Right.
TB12 world.
Okay. All right, Bladesy, I see you kind of tipping your head there a little bit. I assume you're agreeing with T-Mac on this one.
I hate to be the guy to agree, but that's what I was going with.
Okay.
Patriots Saints, Brady versus Breeze, and of course, I'm not going to pick against Brady.
All right. I'm going to, again, buy into Bayless. I think this is what everybody wants to see. I think this would be the biggest draw of all time for a Super Bowl. Dallas, New England, in Miami.
No.
And no, I'm not going that far and say Dallas pulls the upset. I'm saying the Pats will win it. It probably won't even be close. The Patriots have never experienced a blowout in a Super Bowl. Ever.
That's
They're
true.
always close. It's always close.
That's
And
true.
I think we're going back to the days when the NFL sucked with their Super Bowl score, and the CFL was the darling of football. Well, the Grey Cup was always close. This is the year the Patriots get their blowout and win the 7th Super Bowl more than any other team with the three same guys at the helm. So Duke's going Dallas.
So,
Go ahead.
Bladesy, what Duke left out there is Tom Landry and Ted Williams. Their heads are frozen in a laboratory somewhere, and mid-season they take Tom Landry's head out and they put it on Jason Garrett's body, and that's how Dallas gets to the Super Bowl. That's the party left out.
Maybe instead of flipping a coin, they'll flip Tom Landry's head. And they'll call heads.
And I would say this to our viewers. I'm going to say
I just came up with that right then. Could you tell?
I'm going to say this to our viewing audience. These are the two amigos who laughed at me. They scorned me. They ridiculed me when I predicted that the Boston Bruins and the St. Louis Blues were going to meet in the Stanley Cup final. Did that or did that not happen?
Man. Never sport, dude.
Did that happen?
Did.
Thank you.
I had to, like, the Blues I gave you. The Bruins, unlike you with the Steelers, I had to say this stuff about the Bruins. There's no way I can say that.
Anyway, well, boys, we've done pretty good. We've 90 minutes. Not bad.
It is. We're into the NFL season, buddy. The NFL season has started.
It has got underway.
It has got underway.
Right
There's
on.
no score.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we won't tie everybody up. We'll let everybody get to their TV set and watch a little bit of tonight's game. Thank you very much, guys, for coming on. What I am going to do is I'm going to record our picks in the file section of the Sunday Night Sports Guys Facebook page. I'll put a link of that in this video so people who want to go to the page and follow the stories that we put there or make comments and stuff, we'd really appreciate that. We appreciate everybody that takes the time to watch us, and we hope you got some value out of tonight, and we'll see what happens as the season goes along, because I'm sure we'll be pulling things from this video out as the season goes along to see who's getting close to being right and who isn't. So, guys, have yourselves a great night, and we will see you again next week. Duke's got to figure out some scheduling issues before we, settle on a particular night and time that we're going to do things, and check with these guys as well if it's going to work with them. So we will be in touch. Thank you so much for following, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Hey, boys.
See ya.